Cruise control is the best. So Mission Impossible Fallout is the 6th movie in the Mission Impossible franchise and reunites Tom Cruise with the previous film's director Christopher McQuarrie to deliver us the, in my opinion, best film of the Mission Impossible franchise, and I just wanted to say that first off. So am I a fan of the Mission Impossible franchise? Absolutely yes. I think the Mission Impossible franchise somehow just seems to get better and better and better with each movie. Obviously 2 was a bit of a dip, but then when you get past 1 and then you get to 2 and then once you get to 3, 4, 5 and now 6, it seems to get better and better and better. I think that this franchise is so good, and obviously it inspired so much. Obviously the first movie is so iconic with the amazing scene where Tom Cruise drops down, and even with Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, with the scene in Dubai with the Burj Khalifa, which I was actually there for the filming of because I used to live in Dubai, so that was pretty cool. I have a pretty special connection to that movie because of that. But I'm a big fan of this franchise, and also because I'm a huge fan of Tom Cruise. Now Tom Cruise, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but he is honestly one of the most committed and greatest actors we currently have. I mean, he is so good in this movie, not only just due to his performance, but also just due to the fact that he will take himself in any situation. You know, in this movie, he does probably his most death-defying stunt he's ever done. You know, you've probably seen it in the trailers, you know, this isn't really a spoiler, but you'll see it in the trailer where he's, you know, that helicopter sequence. That is such a riveting sequence, but I'll get onto that later. But the fact that Tom Cruise is able to actually just keep on doing these movies at the age of, like, what, 56? To keep doing these stunts and keep doing these movies that, you know, could kill him, really. You know, I mean, well, yeah, they could kill him. And the fact he's still doing it, the fact he's still giving it 110%, I just have complete and utter respect for Tom Cruise, and I think he's a true movie star. He's one of the only names in Hollywood who can still draw in an audience. It's basically him and like Denzel Washington. They're like the last 2 bastions of this sort of genre. So to see Tom Cruise still delivering, it's just great to see. I think the whole cast in this movie did a great job. Besides Tom Cruise, I think Simon Pegg did a really good job here. He got a lot to do, and he got a lot of laughs. Ving Rhames, who got the most to do that he's ever had to do in the entire franchise, which was awesome. I love Ving Rhames in this franchise, but he's always been, you know, sidelined. He's always been a cameo role. So to actually see him as a primary position here was great. Rebecca Ferguson also gave a fantastic performance, as she always does. I loved her in Rogue Nation, so to see her come back here was great. And also just all the other performances. I think it was really awesome. I think Alec Baldwin did a great job, you know. I also think the actor who played Solomon Lane, he was really good. Also, Angela Bassett was really good in here. I think the entire cast was really great. And I also have to mention Henry Cavill as the villain. He was great. I think Henry Cavill, obviously, it was quite hard not to laugh at his mustache due to the whole Justice League thing. But, you know, when you look past that, he was a fantastic villain, terrifying, actually had a really ominous presence. You know, he was a big guy, especially in comparison to Tom Cruise. Obviously, Tom Cruise is, you know, relatively small. So to see him up against Henry Cavill, who's just this absolutely huge guy, it was quite funny to see Tom Cruise actually, you know, almost be outmatched by this guy, because he was a real match for Tom Cruise. He was a real, you know, one-on-one. They were really back and forth with each other, not only due to their fighting, but also due to their dialogue. They were very well matched, and I think Henry Cavill just really did a great job stepping into this franchise in terms of the performance. I also think this is Henry Cavill's best performance he's ever given, but also he was able to really step into the action, and I think that's really admirable. I loved how intelligent the storytelling was in this film. This movie doesn't treat the audience like idiots, and I really love that. This movie's not filled with exposition. This movie doesn't, you know, take the time to stop and go, oh, that's what this means. This movie just goes, pay attention. And, you know, if you're not paying attention, you're not going to be able to follow the story, because there are lots of twists and turns in this film, and if you're not paying attention to the screen and the dialogue, you're not going to be able to follow the story of this movie, because you're not going to be able to pick up on all the little plot details. And I really hate it when movies, you know, they kind of go through this massive thing, and then at the end they'll go, oh, so that's what this means, just in case you weren't paying attention. The fact that this movie actually assumes that you're intelligent enough to actually pay attention to the story and to the plot and to the dialogue, I really respect it. And as I mentioned earlier, the action sequences in this film are mind-blowing. Easily the best action in the entire franchise. This is what action movies should be held to these days. This is what action should be. The fact that this movie just has all this amazing action, and this is obviously the Mission Impossible franchise. We've seen so many outstanding action sequences. You know, Tom Cruise climbing the Burj Khalifa, the plane scene in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. But in this film, the helicopter sequence was so riveting. I could have seen that go on for so much longer. It was just, you know, I mean, it's pretty long as is. I mean, this movie's 2.5 hours long. But to see that, I wanted to see more of that sequence, and also even more. There's a brilliant on-foot chase in London. There's also a brilliant car and bike chase in Paris. There's just so much in this movie, and all the action is so riveting, so edge of your seat, you know, so white-knuckling. I think like this movie just really delivered on the action, and that's what you want really out of this movie. And it's not just the fact that this movie has really action, you know, dumb action. It's not dumb action. The fact that this movie has really it's smart and intelligent action mixed in with a brilliant, intelligent story. That is the perfect way to do a movie like this. Also, I have to say, this movie is really beautiful looking. Like, this is the most beautifully well-shot Mission Impossible movie of the franchise. The cinematography is really impressive, especially there's a shot right towards the end of the film. It could have been a photograph. I mean, it was so beautiful to look at. Obviously, I won't spoil it for you, but it's a really beautiful shot, and I was really in awe at it, actually. And there are so many shots throughout the movie that are really beautiful. I think Christopher McQuarrie did a really good job with the camera here, too, just being able to use this. I mean, Christopher McQuarrie has got to be a hot name in Hollywood now. After doing Jack Reacher, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, and now Mission Impossible Fallout, people are going to be after this guy, because he is really a talented director. So to see him do that mixed with the cinematographer, it was just a really beautiful film to watch. Also, the musical score, Lorne Balfe took the score for this one. It wasn't actually Michael Giacchino, it was actually somebody else for this one. Although they do switch up the composers quite a few times for Mission Impossible, but it's mostly Michael Giacchino. But to switch it up for Lorne Balfe, I actually think he did a really good job. I really like the main Mission Impossible theme for Fallout. I think it's really good. It has a lot more of a cinematic feel to it, which I really like. It was just awesome to actually hear all that stuff going on. Also, the fact that, you know, this movie has an intro with the Mission Impossible theme, you know, so good. I mean, that theme, you know, it's one of the most iconic ones in Hollywood, so to actually hear that on the big screen was awesome. I hadn't heard it since I watched Rogue Nation, so it was really good to see that. And I always love those little intros, so that was really great to see. And overall, I really like the music. I think it really added a lot. And there are even scenes, like there's that bathroom fight scene you would have seen in the trailers. That scene barely has any music in it, and I think that works really well, adds to the impact. And overall, I think all the sound design and sound mixing was brilliant for Mission Impossible Fallout. So as I said, this is the gold standard for the action genre. If you are making an action movie and you're thinking, what should I compare myself to? What should I make this movie in inspiration of? It's this movie. This film just knocks every other action film out of the park. I mean, I haven't seen this good of an action film probably since Mad Max Fury Road in 2014. That film was brilliant, but to take that, this film may even be better than that. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Mission Impossible Fallout is the best action film of the decade. This film is really not even necessarily revolutionary, but it's just a master of its craft, and it really takes everything in the genre and just turns it up to 11. I think that this movie really did a fantastic job with all the different elements it had to manage in terms of the story, the characters, and the action. It really just delivered a extremely and incredibly well polished action film that I couldn't take my eyes off, and I absolutely adored this film. And I would say as well, this is easily the best Mission Impossible movie of the franchise. I mean, Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation are great films, but I really think Fallout just edges them out just a little bit. And overall, this may be the movie of the summer. It's one of my favourite movies of the year. It's one of the best movies of the year. Go and see Mission Impossible Fallout. It's absolutely brilliant, and you will absolutely love it. So did you guys see Mission Impossible Fallout? If you did, make sure you tell me all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's have a great discussion about Fallout in the comment section. And if you like this video and you want to see more movie reviews from me, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. And I hope to see you guys again next time.